Welcome to the evolution of a rock hunter. Today, if you haven't paid attention to the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about signatures, fingerprints, specific characteristics on which areas that are producing nodules have a tendency, just like a fingerprint, to generally create similar type of agates. Agate formations from pseudomorphs, sedgite sprays, water leveling bands, and duds. Everywhere will create duds, cracks, all the above. So, without further ado here, I'm going to show you exactly what is going on here. Now, if you've watched some episodes of the evolution of a rock hunter, you have for sure heard of areas. We have two separate areas that we're talking about. And you can almost see the division line between these two. We'll even kick this one off over here. Isn't that just gorgeous? I'll just give you a little flow through here. Some of these are polished, but I have some that are just cut, as you can see. Why in the hell do we want to sit and watch somebody cut a rock and get wet with the one that's still sitting there collecting rust, the high-tech? I am going to try my best to keep people from falling into those pitfalls. It's like playing a video game. I just happen to be long enough in the tooth and have enough resources around me to be able to survive some of those money pits. Well, for the people out there, as far as dealing with these signatures, we've got two locations. Now remember, some of us heard plenty about follow the science. Well, follow the science does have a point. When I was in school, was told, before I graduated, the narrative at that time, remember, I'm in biology ecology, that we were going to be a hell planet in 20 years, basically Mercury, global warming, and we were going to have class 7 hurricane levels. Said peak oil. If I would have bet all my money on the narrative of that day, I would have lost everything, and I would have been out there begging for something to eat. Well, as far as I can tell, nothing came true. But there is science. There is value in science, but you have to have observation and common sense to follow suit. Because sometimes the hypotheses are just that. They cannot be proven. They can be 70% correct, but that doesn't mean anything. It has to become a law, a natural law. So, what I did, and I kept, when I first started, Christina and when I started finding these nodules, I was calling them potatoes. I knew there was something different about them. So as you can see, we're going to roll through some of these ones that I have polished to see. Now you can see there is some similarities here. Okay. Now what is the similarities? You don't see any sedgite sprays. You see fortification banding and even a kind of a geode pocket of some kind. Now, we have some Christmas presents here to unwrap as well. That is clay ridge. Every time I say clay Ridge, my pseudo claim, Clay Ridge. Remember, I do not believe in just half-hearted claims without industrial use and needs to be on public land. I'm a strong advocate against it. I do not think there's a place for it. So everybody should have the right to go and do the things, not just somebody throwing stakes out in the ground and doing some paperwork. And once you do one claim, then the second claim's easier than the first claim, and then by the time you've done 10, 20, 30 claims, it becomes cakewalk for them. So I hope we do not evolve into that. I would love to see, for general collectors, the regulations stay generally the same. And for people who want to get after it a little bit more, like such me, you have basically a permit, a yearly permit. And if you want an unlimited permit, let's make an unlimited permit $200. So I could collect unlimited amounts of material for a $250 claim. No weight ratio, no weight controls, as long as I just don't use heavy equipment. Well, that sounds reasonable. How about for somebody that wants to collect maybe 1,000 pounds, maybe $25, $30, $50 season license, just like a fishing license or a hunting license or a driver's license. But you contribute to the resource, they do not lose revenues, and it can continue on. And by the way, multiple mineral licenses can be in the same area at the same time. So anyway, well, that's the philosophy, and there's always going to be philosophy on the evolution of a rock hunter. So these on this left-hand side, as you can see, they have definitely got something going on that is way different than what was on the right-hand side of the screen. For the most part, there might be some fortifications, there might be some leveling. But boy, does there look like there's some pseudomorphs to maybe a potential moss to stalactites, sedgenite sprays. There's a lot of things similar here. Now remember, these are nice ones, and all the ones on the right-hand side have been polished. They don't all turn out nice. So hence we are going to start unwrapping the ones and revealing the ones that are over here that I have not revealed, both to the left and also these ones to the right. As you can see, there's some large ones. Most all of them came from Clay Ridge or nearby Clay Ridge here. So I thankfully had a little bit of knowledge to try to keep it separate, and I wasn't perfect there. I have some rogues that I do not know where they came from. But other than that, but what I am seeing is definitely fingerprints. There is a tendency for them to have a certain characteristic. Hey, bud, I'm going to make it quick. Well, finally got organized now with science. So if you can find the narrows deep, you'll be finding a hell of a lot of diversity. I've got 5 wonderful geode diversities, a lot of 4th of July. I call it the 4th of July structures on some of these. It's going to just kick ass. I've got crystals, I've got everything. I've got Jersey, concludal formations. That's the little round balls. I mean, I got everything, and I've got 5 bags. That's all narrows deep. Over here, this is Crystal Ridge Steep East, and look at those. You tell me if you've seen conglomerates with multiple colored geodes within host rock. Those things are just neat as hell. Look at this. Blues, oranges, greens, and they're all geodes attached to host rock and so forth. And then green agates or geodes. You've seen this on the last video, but this is I'm hoping that green casts through, and these things are gonna be smoking. So, but anyway, yeah, on the club, look for. See, I've got 4, 5, 6, 7 more bags of geodes to do some cutting, and I'm about ready to invest $5,000 into a big oil bath slab, so I need an investor. Anyway, hope you're having fun cutting lawn, because I sure am cutting no lawn. See, for them to have a certain characteristic. So, well, as you can see, let's grab this one that's got a little rubber band on it. You see that sedgite spray. Boy, let's see what in the world this is going to have. So we're going to go like this, and let's see if I can do this with one hand. I did it in practice. Let's see, because I want to make it. So let's pretend that I'm in the high-tech saw. And then also, push. Okay. Well, now we're going to have a reveal. Boom. Hey. Well, that's almost got a little bit of both. Now look at that. It's got some sedgite sprays and a little geode jersey pocket with fortifications. That actually came from Narrows Deep. Very similar, the two sisters. Okay, kind of pretty. A lot better than a lot of this material that I see some individuals try to exaggerate. Like I said, we all start somewhere, and some things used to be very, very neat to me. It's what's rare to you, but I know some individuals that I see try to make something out of nothing. I know that they have picked lots of that stuff. So anyway. Okay, well, we've got one here. Oh, look at that. So we're sparks are flying, ruining $50, $60 blade. Okay. All right, here we go. What do we got? Well, looky there. We have a weird pseudomorph. Let me see if I can get that camera. Okay. Fortification. This is actually looking like maybe this one needs to be polished. And here's its sister. But you can see a characteristic similarity. There's a signature there. That, or a fingerprint. I think I like fingerprint the best. Well, this one kind of fell apart, so our saw really got to cutting here. And, let's see here. Oh, I think this one was actually on one of the catch-up catch-up and chew episodes. I think this was one that was actually flagged as one that I had missed. Well, sedgite sprays on the end there. Well, let's see what we got in the center. Well, lo and behold, isn't that something? Sedgite sprays. I wouldn't call this gorgeous, by no means. Okay, needed to have a little bit of a mineral oil, but these ones, but I will polish that. And it looks like the sister rock's got a little bit of a fortification right there. Okay. Kind of interesting. But again, look at the signature. Very similar, just different. But it kind of carries along. Pay attention to the rinds on these. The rinds, there's quite a diversity here. So they're in the same general area, but the rinds are different. Depends on how they weathered and so forth. And, I'm sure the matrix fluctuates. Well, we got this one here. And we go. Now it's cut. Well, look at that. Even being smaller, you can see the pseudomorph / stalactites and water leveling in that. Let's grab the larger one of these two. Okay, now look. Kind of looks like it's an offspring of that one. Same geological conditions in that area tried to form very similar materials. So if you're buying something from a country, or a nodule from Idaho, what are you going to get? Are you going to get a Narrows Deep kind? Or are you going to get a Clay Ridge kind? And remember, they're not even really a county apart. So when I say, oh, this nodule came from this country in Africa, or I'm going, all right. If I'm seeing signatures meaning a lot here, then that means it's meaning similar things elsewhere. So let's go ahead. We better flip the ones open that I've seen. Like I said, we'll just pick on Narrows Deep here for the first part here. Okay, well, that's actually kind of ugly. You see how kind of creamy ugly that is? I'll see if I get that in there. That looks like those little pair of eyes that I have shown on one short. But you know what? But look at the sedgite sprays. Let's find the other one. By gosh, similar. But you know what? I don't necessarily like it because of the dirtiness of the calcinium in it. So we'll throw that. Saws it cooking. And we got this one right here. So we go. And this came from Narrows Deep. And, oh, wow. Ha! Did that just come out of that one? Looks like a signature to me. Right there. Those two rocks can hardly even look much more similar in what they have. Some water leveling with some whatever pseudomorph or stalactite of some kind, plume, but very similar. Okay, now let's pick on this one that's got a way different rind, but it came from Narrows Deep. So I got to find a better saw. Okay, here we go. Look, it is different, but there's some characteristic similarities still. It is trying to be similar. It is different. Every agate is unique. There is not going to be two agates identical unless they are completely pure chalcedonium. Okay, that one, I wouldn't have expected that, but it just is lagging the pseudomorphs. It's just a fortification with some matrix in there. Interesting, and its rind is more of, on the term, what I call popcorny. It had better looking fortification on the outside than what you really see on the inside. There's some, but I've seen some very, very experienced individuals try to really, an old jerk, Joe Dirt saying, when he was trying to say Joe Dirte, well, don't church it up. Just tell it how it is. It's a piece of chalcedonium, very common. And then the more and more they get rare, well, get excited about it. Do that. I don't know. Like I said, everybody's level is different as they progress through. But I feel like I'm being disingenuous if I try to make just a chunk of chalcedonium into something special. Until you find some, yes, it is, but it is not rare. It is very common. So this one here, if we notice, we've got a half sitting here from Narrows Deep. We pull it up. Hey! I believe we found the sister rock of that polished one. There it is. So those two go together, and that's one of those wonderful softball size nodules that Narrows Deep is famous for, and both sides are worthy of polish. This is what truly I called the 4th of July stone. When I cut that, and I'm telling you, I cut this with that high-tech saw. I swear I was going to lose more hair on my head. I definitely got a wrinkle or two more by the time I got through that nodule. That was so hard. I mean, I did everything I could not to ruin the blade. It kept hooking up, binding. I was doing everything. And remember, I work with my hands daily. So with somebody that's trying to use one of those to cut this kind of material that doesn't use their hands for craftsmanship and stuff every day, it'd be a total nightmare. Why in the world would you ever want to lead somebody to that? You know, a tile, just a regular tile saw from Home Depot, fine. You can play around all day long on something like that, and it won't cost you a fortune. So, but anyway, as we can see, we're going to go through here. I'm going to make it a little bit quicker. So, here we go. Interesting little rind. Kind of a nodule, kind of definitely doesn't have a great shape. Well, look at there. Do you see any similarities? They didn't come from the same exact pile. No, they came from an area. And that area is probably about the size of what a claim would be. You know, about a 20-acre area these are coming out of. Okay, they have got, but look at the uniqueness. Look at the matrix in there. Look at the yellow, or the kind of a amber colored calcinium. Interesting. Okay, we go along. Here's another one. Hey, okay, came out of this and that. Hey, that one don't fit. Well, it does, but barely. You can see that little bit of pseudomorphs or stalactites, whatever we want to call them. It doesn't have a crack. There's some fortification. These have got fortifications. You know, some water levelings and things. You know, so forth. You know, look at the fortifications there. So you can see this is a little off, but it's still got the same general characteristic. And for that area, that would be more or less a dud. We're going to get down to, we got a half here. Let's click this one up. Now look at that one. We go from one that didn't have much pseudomorphs at all, or pluming, to one that is full of it. And I do believe this one kind of had a broken side to it, so I just was able to get one side. It hasn't been polished. That's how nice those saws cut these. But look at the interest in that. But look at the fortifications that are kind of doing an amber, but he's more or less he's kind of a stalactite plume. But he sure does look like he's coming from the same area. Okay, go from this one over here. Whammo. Now this one's a real for that area. But no cracks. A little bit more like what I would call a clay ridge is. Similar. Almost you could consider it a hybrid. Okay. But definitely not the dramatic stalactites and so forth, and the pseudomorphs that these have. But he's a cousin. You can see it. Same general cast of the calcinium. And let's throw that one down in that. The rind, well, it looks similar to some degree. And last but not least, on the let's see, we got to make another saw cutting. Okay. Now, now that one sure did come from Narrows Deep. So even if I didn't have the science, and I wasn't documenting these like I have been, I've been making sure that I bag them, I flag them, I put into separate areas and keep them separate, even when I'm cleaning them. And that's where you'll get across contamination. You got to be careful when you're tired and you want to be done with things. When you start soaking them, getting them cleaned up. And here's the sister. Okay, this one I like, but I don't like the color of that calcidium, that bluggy. The Ochicos and Oregon seem to have a lot of that milky, yellowish calcidium, and it takes a lot of the look away. This one's been polished. Okay, not to competition grade, but plenty for display and to look nice. So, all right. Now we know a general look at what Narrows Deep signature is. And I have a lot more nodules to be cutting. We didn't have a whole lot of duds, but believe me, there's dud. That is the dud of the bunch for the most part, right there. But he doesn't have a crack in it. Now we're going over to Clay Ridge. Now, Clay Ridge is definitely not my favorite, but it's prolific. So I can find quite a few. And there is some diversity, but where it's the most difficult is to actually get. That one actually has got a calcite. Some of Clay Ridge will actually have a slight hue of an azimuth in the actual little Jersey pockets. Now that, to some, they think that's way prettier than those. And Clay Ridge is the place to find those. It is not Narrows Deep. Here's another one. Very beautiful fortification bands. Love to see more colors in it, but that is gorgeous. That one's super tight. That's probably one of the better ones that I have cut through at Clay Ridge. Super hard, almost completely solid. I don't know if that Jersey pocket in there actually adds to that, but it is definitely pretty. We go along, we'll look at this little heart. Pretty. Polished it up, same kind of thing. So what I'm seeing now is you don't see any Pseudomorph / Sedgite sprays / stalactites. None. Clay Ridge, and Clay Ridge is not that far away from Narrows Deep. And you do get some wonderful, solid nodules. This looks like a crack, but that's where it was getting fed. But that is very solid and very pretty. This has a similarity to casting. So almost a hybrid there, but that one is a Clay Ridge. Okay, look at this one. This one actually has white, but you can really see the azimuth in that one. Again, Clay Ridge. That little nodule, that might be one of those ones that when I cut that, did not have one. It still doesn't. It looks like there's a crack right there. That might have developed a crack since I had cut it. But I really, with this one here, I can really see that little hint of azimuth in that. I mean, hopefully that phone is focusing on that end because you can see it. Pretty. Oh, I remember personally cutting that. That was horrendous to cut with that little high-tech saw. That was in the high-tech time. Remember, Clay Ridge was one of the first ones that I found that had the nodules. Well, we're going to go through these pretty quick. Pretty nice sized nodules here. Pretty nice. Well, gosh, I got water in my face. And okay, here. Well, pretty decent. Got nice water lines. A little bit of fortification with a nice quartz pocket. The sister hasn't been polished. And it's got some dirt. It's got some calcite in there. Not bad. Not a bad. Neither one of them had been polished. This one just, it was a little cleaner. Okay, here we go. Boom. Here we cut one. Boom. Look at that. Now that is starting. Now this one's not been polished. But them tight banding, it is in this water leveling. It's not in the fortification. But that is definitely very nice. Different. But no sedgite sprays, no pseudomorphs, stalactites, none of the above. So there is a difference. It definitely looks like, you know, he could have come from either one. A little bit of a hybrid there. And here is the sister. That one is actually a prettier one because that's actually got a little bit more definition of that fortification at the top there. Hasn't been polished. So here we go, and we cut again. Now this, for Clay Ridge, these are actually quite common. Except for the white diamond within the center here is actually a little bit rare, or doesn't happen all the time. I'll call it a diamond because it sounds kind of neat. That, it don't look like a diamond, but that kind of looks like a diamond. Looks like dark crystal right there. You know, if that kind of dated me. It was a Muppet show. But anyway, all righty, okay. I might have bit off a little more than I could chew here, but I'm hoping that people are understanding that the difference in this. I could have broke this up into multiple episodes, but I've got other places to show their signature as well. The differences in between agatized wood, petrified wood, mimicked wood, opalized wood. There's lots of episodes to come. So let's go ahead and we'll start flapping through these. Quartz bomb. Very common at Clay Ridge. Okay. Neat little nodular. He's got a little thing sitting out right there. It takes us 15 minutes to cut it on the high tech, and now 15 minutes is up. Hey, pretty nice little, but look at the similarities with the signature. He hasn't been polished, but there is a similarity there. That is, you can see that you cannot completely 100% count on it that an area is not going to have something. But the odds are on the bet that if you, after a period of time, you go up, take a sample, and cut them, see what you're dealing with, well, guess what? You'll probably see a definite trend. It's just like it's like a family You look at this family to this family to this family, you'll see a genetic trait, appearances, grins, mannerisms, all the above. Some of it's learned, I know, but look at the variation of the rind here. So here we will cut again. That kind of looks like that other diamond. Oh, maybe I already picked that one up. I could get lost real easy. I think I picked that one up. Okay, that one was interesting. Look how saucered he is. Really thinking, wow, that's going to look, but you can't. I mean, look at the bottom of that. So I thought, hell, I'll cut right through the middle of that so I can make dang sure that I get it. And I'd call this a dud. The reason why I'd call it dud is just a big quartz bomb. It has water leveling at the bottom, but it has that Ochiko. I said some of the stuff that I've seen, they have real tendency to have that real nasty, I hate to say it, kind of pea-colored calcinium. It is not, you want to church it up to chameleon or something like that, but that's like yucky, yeah, yellow water. Nasty. And sister has got some sort of a little fortification right there, but other than that, I might polish it. Okay, we cut, boom. That's a dirty, my gosh, what in the world happened in here? We have some sort of stalactite formation in a geode that is dirty. It's nasty. And that is all full of nastiness too. Eek. I don't know if that'll ever look into anything. Kind of most of sulfur, but definitely different. I don't know if it got interrupted or what went on there. That one needs more cleaning. But gosh, it took a long time to cut on the saw. All right, then we're going to go over here and, hey, look at that one. For Clay Ridge, that's actually very good character. But as you can see, let me see if that phone will zero in on there. You can see that trait coming down. Kind of looks like a fracture. I don't know if it's a fracture, and I think it is with the water leveling. But that for Clay Ridge has got a lot of character. Another Ochiko looking one. This one kind of looks like a hybrid. But I know it came from Clay Ridge. So, hey, we're up there. We've got, well, what do they call it? Dendrites. Oh, there's a floating debris in there somewhere, some sort of a dendrite. It doesn't really have a perfect look to it. But I'd be disappointed. I'd much rather see I'm up at Clay Ridge to get that, not that. That is a dud in this zone, and it's kind of like a dud in both zones. No good. Then, if you had been watching, I actually had picked up this. Was in one of the ketchup and chews. This one right here was an interesting looking shaped nodule near Clay Ridge. Was it on very top of Clay Ridge, so I cut the bottom off. Not bad. A little different. Kind of a little bit of a hybrid. So I would say this was an orphan. This one wasn't in either deposit. It was kind of out in space. So this one potentially could have had even a little bit of difference between Clay Ridge geological activity and Narrows Deep. So it kind of sets itself out as being a little independent. Look at this, but this is very typical of clay ridge. You can't tell anything until you cut it, and all of a sudden you have nothing but a translucent chalcedonium. I would say 50% of the ones that I have cut in clay from clay ridge will look like that. This is rare. That is common, very common. Okay, these, I would say probably about 20% of the actual nodules will have like a geode type pocket. Again, this needs to be cleared, but that one could be actually quite pretty. Haven't cleaned it up, have not polished it, but the fortifications aren't quite as tight as that one, but it is definitely in the ball game. And we're down to the wire here, and this one here looks a little hybrid-y, but what sets it off from not being narrows deep, no sedgite sprays, no pseudomorphs, no stalactites. The color of the chalcedonium is in the ball game. So, but he's definitely that from, you can see that coloration in that one right there, and this one are similar. Now, some color of the chalcedonium could be very similar in regions, I do believe. That's what I seen with the Ochocos. The Ochocos have really got a yucky, not a very good, nice looking, transparent chalcedonium. You want that to be, I think the best chalcedonium is like almost like as clear as pure glass. Oh, this one right here, that big baby, that's solid. I could never cut it on that high tech. I am not talented enough to do it. I tried. I've ate my deck up. I went through 4 different types of blades. Can't do it. My Cummington saws, piece of cake. Sit back, relax, watch a rock hounding video on TV, and then pick up your rock. Whoa! Nice, because it doesn't have much of a fracture. It's got some sort of a little thing right there, but a little bit of a feed there. But you know what? That's got to be where it was getting injected. Oops, sorry. I have changed my clothes. Got the same jacket on. It is winter here in Idaho. It's probably about 60 in the shop here. But as you can see, that one is not bad. It definitely helps have that nice white fortification going around to offset the quartz center. It is definitely solid, and the lack of fractures makes that decent. This one here, by gosh, okay. Interesting looking nodule. No fractures. What was I saying about not having anything? Look how pure and solid that is. It's got the faintest fortification. It is so faint, you can barely see it. Okay, that is a typical clay ridge. Clay ridge will just break your heart. A lot of times you just cut and nothing comes about. Now, every once in a while, in every place that I have seen, you will have, Orphan Annie, something doesn't make any sense. That's science. Why didn't this person do this? Or why is this glacier ascending while other glaciers are receding? Okay, there's always, did a study on Neotoma lepida, the desert wood rat, when I was in school. We had 6 wood rats that did exactly what they were supposed, or 5 of them out of the 6 did line transects around their den. And our hypothesis was, well, to avoid predation, we would basically, in a nutshell, they would travel and cache in their huts in the yucca bacata, the Spanish bayonet, their food source. Very simple thesis. Well, 5 were perfect. What the distance from their den, that's exactly the amount that they had in their cache, food cache, perfect. Except for 1. And 1 was traveling clean as far away as he could. He had a fetish for a particular plant. Can't remember the genus and species of that particular plant. He loved it to death. I don't know if our hypothesis was solid, but definitely Mr. 6 blew our numbers all to HI double toothpicks because he was doing completely the opposite of what our hypothesis was. So it kind of made us mad. And like I said, he probably ended up getting ate by a coyote. But he or an owl or something like that. But by gosh, while we were there doing our field study, that dirty bugger was alive and well and throwing our numbers completely away. There's one here. He's an interesting looking nodule. No windows to speak of. Just the faintest of fortification bands. Okay, definitely not that. He's this, but he's not those, and he's definitely not that. Polishable? I think so. You know the reason why? Is because those ghosts, they look halfway decent, but no fractures. If that had a crack in it, I'm sorry, it's for somebody else to have, not me. And when this station or channel ever evolves into something, and hey, we're growing a little, so some people are tuning in, and this prospecting by saw / signature, follow the science, we'll see. We'll see how this one goes. See if people like this. Because that sure is a lot of information to swallow. But this is, we'll go back, I was a weave, to this particular one here. And I wanted to show this. I know that he or she was located at Clay Ridge. But it had a white calcite or an opal on the outside. Most of them don't. But I could see that it had calcinium in it. I could tell that was a nodule. Well, I will just show this because this side, look at that. Now, you've heard about mutations in area, mutations in life. Well, I cannot explain. This is my 6th wood rat. That does not fit that signature on any of them. So it is a big plume with very pure calcinium. See the difference in color. See how I was saying that the more pure it is, the better. I'll get that one that's got, see the difference? That's what I think I see in those ochicos in Oregon, is a lot more of that. Look how pure versus that. That is night and day difference. When you see those two side by side, it is not because it is polished. The purity, it's just like that chalcedonium and so forth. There's some sort of a trace element that is getting in there, and it basically turned it into dirty water. And I have a tough time finding any beauty in that. So back to here. This one here is beautiful out of Narrows Deep, except for that it needed that pure chalcedonium in it to make it an absolute stellar agate. See the difference? That is actually a very beautiful little plume agate there. And like I said, I have no flying clue. He was kicked out of the bushes, and he was a mutant in that area. And I only found the one. So this is going to be a long video. It's going to be the longest one that we have ever done in the evolution of a rock hunter. I'm going to watch it, see how it goes, see if people like to hang in there that long. Maybe they used it for a sleep device. My voice, hey, it can put you to sleep. Guess I get some decent viewing hours. They never talk about the simple things. Professional, too professional, too this and that. I appreciate everybody who has subscribed. My goal, I really don't have a goal. To become monetized would be kind of interesting. I'm already ahead of where I thought I would be. And it seems we're growing subscribers. Thank you so very much. Please, I'm gonna keep this material coming. I appreciate everything that everybody is doing to see if that algorithm will find the evolution. Have a wonderful day, and we'll check back next time.